Hello friends, we are going to catch up today. We're going to do a little Q&A. Very excited. I thought I would just do a really relaxed Q&A in my car. So I found a nice lovely parking lot to sit and chat with you guys. I asked you on Instagram and on YouTube, and this is the first time I've asked on YouTube in a while. I don't know if I'm going to do it again because some people are mean on YouTube, but maybe it's because it's more anonymous. I don't know. Anyway, let's just get into it. I'm trying to decide if I should turn off the car. I might risk getting really hot, but we'll see. Okay, to start off, everybody wants the drama. Like, that's something I've noticed lately is, as a society, I think we're all addicted to gossip and drama, because one of the most asked questions is like, what happened on the farm? People want the details. People want to know the drama that went down and all of the things. But I don't know if that's really the healthiest thing for us to be craving, and I don't know if that's the healthiest thing for me to give to you guys, is the drama, you know? So that's just been something I've been thinking about, is why? What is it inside of us that craves to just know the dramatic things that happen to people? Like, why are we so addicted to gossip? Anyway, so that's something I've been thinking about and questioning, because I am the same way. When, you know, there's drama happening in a YouTuber that I watch's life, I'm like hooked. I'm like, I want to know what happened. It's like so enticing, but I also don't think that's really good for our souls. So anyway, everyone wants drama. I get it. Everyone wants to know the tea, but I want to be respectful, you know? And I also don't want to like feed our cravings. We need to like starve ourselves of gossip. It's just so easy to get like wrapped up in it, and like, especially celebrity gossip, things like that. It's just so easy to just be so fascinated by it and like want to know the details of someone's lives and just analyze and pick apart everything and figure out what happened. So I get it. I get why you want to know. I don't think I'm going to tell you though. Let's just say it got quite stressful and unhealthy mentally, the way things were being communicated. And yeah, I just don't think the people who owned it, you know, they were going through a lot of things that were hard in their life. And so I think it was just really hard. They were just going through a hard time. And yeah, it just wasn't the best like dynamic. Just imagine having a boss who, you know, you might not have the best communication with. Also, they're going through a lot in their life, so they're stressed out. And then imagine living in your boss's guest house. Like, obviously that's not a recipe for a healthy living situation. But yeah, I'm not going to get down into all the details of exactly what happened and all the events that happened and exactly what the miscommunications were, because I don't want to feed that desire for drama. It's just interesting. We actually met the couple last night. We were at our pastor's house for a little, not really a Bible study, it was like a prophecy night. And we met the couple who lived there before us. So there was another young married couple who did the work for trade for 3 months before we got there. And we had only heard what the owners had said about them and their experience. So it was really interesting to meet them and then hear their experience. It was very similar to ours. So that, I just thought that was interesting that God sent two Christian couples to live there, and both of us only lived there for 3 months. And I really feel like God I feel like I missed it. Like, I feel like if I were at a better place mentally, physically, emotionally, and was there, I could have probably made like a lot of, like, I could have just like battled in the spirit a lot more on that property. I think there's like a darkness over it, and God keeps sending in Christians to the property to really pray over it and just battle in the spirit. But it was so easy to just get caught up in your flesh instead, and trying to battle in the flesh through communication and all those things, instead of really seeing the bigger picture of what's going on spiritually there, or spiritually in these lives. I think God really wants to reach these people. So yeah, I just feel like I missed it. I missed that. And I'm not condemning myself for that. I think God gave us an opportunity there, and we took some of it, but we didn't really take all of it that we could with that experience, by like really truly showing them the love of Christ, and also just spiritually just like going in and just like surrounding that place with prayer. So I don't know, those are my thoughts on it. And then a lot of people said like moving to the farm was a God story, so everyone's like questioning like if we were really supposed to be there, and if God really sent us there, if it didn't work out. And like, yes. Just because you don't live somewhere for a long time doesn't mean that it can't be ordained by God. Like, we are bopping around all over the place, and you think about the people in the Bible, like, God always was calling people out of their comfort zone to go here and sending out, like, I don't think it's a bad thing to have moved, but I think a lot of people took it that way, like, it's a bad thing that we're moving so much. But if God is calling us to all these places, then like I saw God while we were there, even though it wasn't, the most healthy situation, and it didn't turn out the way we wanted. Like, there was still so many beautiful things about like my prayers being answered by living on that street alone. Us being able to save a lot of money during those 3 months. The experience of working and living on a farm was amazing. And also, I think he really set us up to potentially move in to a place we really love with this timeline, which if we would have stayed in our old place, we wouldn't have made the connections, we wouldn't have been perfectly aligned with move-in dates, things like that. So the next place we move, I feel like, it's like a piece. Moving to the farm was a piece to get us somewhere even greater. So I see God in all of it, and I don't think it's bad that we moved off the farm, or think like, oh, God wasn't on it because it only lasted 3 months. Like, God could be on it, something that lasts like 2 minutes. Let's not limit God and his time frames for things. If God calls you somewhere, it doesn't mean it's going to be for years, and that's okay. We have to be flexible with our lives. So yeah, I feel like also with all the fact that we were able even to get a place after this one, I see God all over that too, because if you have ever lived in Hawaii, it's really hard to find places to live. So just the fact that all of these open doors happen, and it was so seamless, and now we're at this new property, and the owners of the new property, I believe, are Christian, and we just get to like speak life into them and kind of like do what we should have done at the other property. I don't know, it's all cool. It's like probably what they needed. They had a really bad situation with their previous tenant, and we had a bad situation with our previous landlord, so it's cool that now we both get to have like a peaceful living situation together at the new spot. I don't know, God's all over it. So don't you gals worry about it. It's not a big deal. God just calls us different places. It's totally cool. Obviously, it's a little bit stressful to move so much, but that's okay. It's just I don't know, just a season. I'm sure we're hoping the next place we live that we stay there for over a year. That would be great. But if God keeps calling us to move for different reasons, like whatever, we're cool with it. Okay, let's move on to something not about moving, even though that's what everybody wanted to know about. Somebody asked, what jobs is Kyle working right now? Kyle works, he works Monday through Friday, starting his hours change a little bit, but it's like an 8 to 2 kind of schedule is like the average. And he does chimney sweeping and dryer vent cleaning around the island for a great local business here. He loves it. His bosses are amazing and treat him so well. And then he also got another opportunity to work with Beth Keys on his men's retreat. So he travels with him whenever there's a retreat. This was really recent. Also such a cool God thing that happened right when we found out we were leaving the farm. So that's what I'm saying. Like, God's in everything. Even if he calls us to like move so much, and even if it looks like things didn't work out, like right after that, Kyle got this awesome opportunity to work with Jeff on these retreats and like work in an area an area that he loves and is really passionate about. Kyle is really passionate about retreats. And so he wouldn't have been able to help or work with any of these retreats if we were still on the farm. So like I said, God is like perfectly working everything out. So anyway, that's what he is doing right now, for those who are curious. Oh, this is a good question. What do you guys both think needed improvement at one point but is now improved between both of you? Kyle's obviously not here to speak on this, but that's such a good question. Looking back, something I really needed to improve on in my marriage was respecting my husband and just like empowering him. And I think I've gotten a lot better with that because I was very independent and I had a lot of men let me down and lead me down wrong paths and just betray my trust. So it was really hard for me to like become soft, and like really trust my heart even to my husband, because I had built up this independence and the strong, tough exterior because the one time I was truly soft, and like I almost had like a husband relationship, that dynamic of like the wife being like submissive and like underneath her husband's covering, and like that beautiful dynamic. I had that with one of my first boyfriends where I like idolized him and saw him as everything and like loved him to the fullest, like gave him everything, and he disappointed me. He broke my heart. He cheated on me. And so it was really hard to like get back to like to really achieve that heart in marriage, even though that's what it was created for. I shouldn't have given that to a boyfriend, but I did. That should have been saved for marriage, and it would be a lot easier for me now if I hadn't experienced that. That's why it's so important to protect your hearts as you guys are dating. But yeah, that's something I really needed to work on. And I'm sure some of you guys noticed it. I appreciate the people who prayed for me, but didn't judge me, because we all are working things out. But yeah, I just wasn't the best. I would kind of like shut him down a lot and just make him not feel good and not feel like respected and empowered. So I think that's something that's improved, and I obviously need to work on it every single day to help support him and empower him. I saw the advice to look at, see your husband not for who he is now, but for who he will be like a little bit further than he is now. Like, see him. I know you don't want to see people for their potential, but in marriage, you want to see your husband's potential and treat him that he's like reached the next level potential, because that will like usher him into the next level. Because men really care about what the wives think of them, so it's important. Anyway, that was also very long-winded. Oh, somebody asked, like, why are we never content? And I thought this was an interesting question, and I've been praying on that and asking. And really what it comes back to, why no humans are ever really content, It's really hard to be content. And I think about the Garden of Eden and Adam and Eve having like this literal, like the perfect relationship, no sin, walking naked with God, just like fellowship with the living God in a beautiful garden. Everything was perfect, but she still wanted more. So I think because of the fall of humanity and sin, there's something in us that always wants more. It's really hard to be 100% content in life because our sinful nature is always telling us we need more. So, to acknowledge your question, that is why it's really hard to ever be content, because of sin. And it's just like innate in us. Even when everything was perfect, Eve still wanted more knowledge. So, that's why I'm never content. But anyway, I think you're also making an assumption that we're never content because we keep moving. That's what I'm assuming, the assumption you're making. And again, just because you move doesn't mean you aren't content. I don't know. Just if God calls us to move and he's closing a door on one thing, asking us to move to a new place, and that's the best decision for our mental health, physical health, emotional health, and it aligns, and he's opening up doors, it's like, I don't think it's really fair to judge us and say, oh, you guys are not content because you keep moving. Because you don't know you don't know exactly the will of God. So, that's my 2 cents on that. But if you want to, I don't know. But in a way, yes, I'm not content because it's really hard to achieve that. I like this. I like the car. I like the filming in the car. I should do this more often. I feel way more chill. Chill as a cucumber. Do you struggle with body image issues and how do you deal with that? Totally. I think since growing, in high school and college is when I most struggled with body image. Being married, I don't know, there's something about being in this sacred covenant that makes you not worry about your body as much, especially if you have like an amazing husband who never talks bad about your body or like never says anything besides that I'm beautiful. I think that has been really helpful. But yes, I do struggle with it. And yeah, it's hard. I think something that's really helped is following people on social media who show cellulite, who show stretch marks, who show unposed pictures. Like today in Pilates class, I was looking at myself in the mirror and I'm just like, I don't know if you can see it now, but it's like, yeah, I don't have a flat stomach. And in the mirror at the Pilates studio, I could see cellulite all over my stomach. And I was like, oof, I don't really like that, but that's okay. It's like, am I going to let that ruin my day or like be hard on myself because my body has cellulite? No, it's just not worth it, It's just accepting it, showing it, like knowing that it's normal. Do I wish my body looked a little different? Yes. I wish I want to be more healthy. I want to feel lean and muscular and strong and active. I want to have more energy. So those are really more my motivations for working out now, which has been really helpful. But yeah, I guess that's how I deal with it. I acknowledge it and be like, I don't like that I have cellulite all over my stomach. I wish I had a flat stomach, but I don't. So I'm just gonna do things that make my body feel good and try to stay pure in heart with that. Somebody asked, do I work for the Beth Keys? So New Flora was first created by my lovely bosses, Jess and Joey, and then they partnered with the Beth Keys, and now the Beth Keys are like co-owners of New Flora. So technically, but Jess and Joey are the people who are more hands-on with the business, who I'm talking with on a weekly basis. I think the Beth Keys are kind of more like the investors, like, and more like business side of like the bigger level stuff. So I'm not like working with them on a weekly basis or anything. But Kyle, like I said, is working at Jeff's retreats now. So he is. I guess I am too, kind of. Somebody asked, do you think you've gotten better with money? I know you talked about a hold before. Yes, I think we're getting more free with money and feeling more liberated by it. We actually decided to hire a financial planner. So we have a meeting with them tomorrow, actually. So we'll see how that goes. But we both have very different mindsets. Kyle hardly spends any money. And when he he doesn't feel like empowered spending money, he gets more anxious about spending money or not having enough money. It's more poverty. Whereas I think I'm rich, so I like to spend a lot of money. I don't like to feel poor, or I don't like to feel constricted and like having a tight budget. So we're very opposite in that fact. So we're, I think we're both like coming somewhere in the middle to a more healthy mindset with it. And I think having the financial planner was a big step. Because that in itself is an investment. We have to spend money on the financial planner, and it's a bigger monthly expense, like a car payment basically, to have a financial advisor. But I think having someone to help us with strategy and planning and acknowledging our money and diving into it, that's like not inside the marriage, will like help set us up for generations. So that's like what we're focusing on now, but it's definitely improved. So keep working on it. It's worth it. Pursue it. Okay, let me do one more question. Someone says you have been a bit distant on social media, and why? I will give you an answer because I feel like I truly got a clear answer last night after this Bible study. I feel like I wrote it down. Oh, you guys are on the notebook that I wrote it down on. Basically, what I realized is I was focused more on Christianity, and religion more than I was focused on Jesus and who he is. So you hear all the time, it's like relationship over religion. And I noticed yesterday that is what happened. On YouTube, I was more focused on what all these Christians were saying to me, what they didn't like about me, what they thought was wrong, and really a lot of people just dissecting and picking apart my personal relationship with Jesus. And I was focused more on that than my actual relationship with Jesus and who he is and how amazing he is. So that is why I've been distant, because I was bitter and annoyed at Christians in general. I'm just being really honest right now, but that's just how I felt. And I think that's really, and I was prideful. And just, yeah. So I'm repenting for all of that. And moving forward, I just have to remember that above everything needs to be my thoughts about Jesus and know who he is. And that's all I need to focus on, is who Jesus is and his truth. Otherwise, yeah, it really made me feel disconnected from my audience, because I just felt like, and I know not everyone did it, but it's really hard to not, it's really, for everyone, what is the saying? It's like So in marriage, like if you say 10 positive things and 1 negative things, like for every, okay, what is it? For every 1 negative thing, there has to be 10 positive things to make up for it, like in a marriage. That's how much weight negativity has. Like, it's just negative. Their negative comments are just so powerful. It's so easy to give them so much power. And so I gave negative comments a lot of power and made me bitter and distant and not wanting to be vulnerable, share things with you guys, be friends sometimes. I wanted to break up with YouTube. I was at a point where I was like, I think I'm going to quit this. Like, I hate YouTube. I would be crying, having breakdowns about how much I hated YouTube a few months ago, to be honest. So I think getting a job outside of YouTube and working for someone else was really what I needed to do. And now that I've like gotten outside of that and like processed through it and worked through my unforgiveness and bitterness towards, you know, people and YouTube, I feel in a lot better headspace, and I do still feel really passionate about it. I mean, I've been doing this and been passionate about it since I was 13 years old. I've been making videos, so yeah. Anyway, hope that answers your question. I'm really trying to connect more, and I will still probably keep a lot of more things private because I don't want that to happen again. I don't want to ever lose my relationship with Jesus because I'm so focused on Christians, you know, or other people. So that is another big reason why a lot of that stuff is more distant too. Because I just have to protect it. It's the most sacred thing in my life. It needs to be protected. I'm back. I want to share a little funny story. So some of our friends live next door to the property we were at the farm. So I've come up here quite a few times. I was actually on my way here when I was filming that video. And last time I came up here, I passed the owner of the farm on the drive up, and I did not make eye contact. I was just like super avoidant, which that's more I don't like conflict. It gives me the cringe. Just like, I hate it. I hate that feeling. But today, that was last week, I think. So today I was coming up here again, and I passed him in the exact same spot. And the whole way here, I put on worship music. I was worshiping. I was praying in tongues all the way like up the hill, because this is what I felt like I missed when we were there. This is what I should have been doing. Every time I saw them, I should have been praying for them. Every time I came to the property where there was clearly just a spiritual heaviness and spiritual darkness of anxiety, just so much heaviness on the property. Like, I should have been worshiping on my way there, worshiping while we were there, praying over them. So I just see such a big shift in my spirit that God's breaking off, you know, any resentment, bitterness towards them, bitterness towards the situation. And, you know, like, there's still, even though I felt like I missed it, like, I'm still coming right by their property, like, once a week to see my friend. And I still, you know, this is it. This is what God wanted. He wanted us to be like worshiping Him, surrounding them with love, with prayer. And my heart is just, it aches for them, because I know, you know, they're just going through hard stuff, and they don't have Jesus there. They don't have Jesus to lift that load, and that should make our heart break for them, not be bitter towards them or angry or however they treated us, whatever. Like, they have their own stuff, they're hurting. Anyway, so that just happened, and I just thought that was such a powerful shift that I passed him in the exact same spot 1 week later, and just the difference it makes when you trust God and you just let Him take over your heart and let Him show you how much He loves the people, even the people who hurt you, or, you know, it's just so good. All right, well, love you guys. Love that for me. Love that for Jesus. Love that for them. It's all love. Now I'm a hippie. Love, Peace and Jesus, guys. Maybe that should be my new outro. Peace and Jesus. Okay, bye.